Right. Just plug it in without it falling. Okay. Done. I'm live. Amazing. Can you see my mat? Yeah, just about. So many tripod issues recently. I mean, whatever, isn't it? At the end of the day. All right, I think we're good. I think we're good to go though. Just ignore my hand. All right, it only took 32 seconds to get my tripod working. All right, welcome. Hello everyone, another Facebook Live yoga class. I hope you're all doing wonderful. I hope you have had a lovely week so far. It's Wednesday. So yes, this used to be my early morning yoga. It used to be, hey Lauren, it used to be my 7:30 yoga, but I actually changed it because last time I done the early morning yoga, I think I fell asleep just for a little bit, just for the briefest of moments, but I'm pretty sure I almost fell asleep. And could you imagine if I'd done that on live? It's very much in my style, but kind of felt like I should push it back a little bit. So today we are going to be doing, I don't want to say this is a yin class because I'm not trained to teach yin and I'm not a yin teacher, but it is a yin inspired class. Now if you're not sure what yin yoga is a style of yoga which focuses on passive stretches to release the fascia, which is like a sausage skin that connects all our muscles. So while all the muscles are separate, it's connected by this kind of like sausage skin called fascia. All right, and I think a part of yin, I believe, because I have practiced yin, I do practice yin, part of it is to try and release the fascia that surrounds the muscles, and it focuses on passive stretches. So we are going to be holding postures a lot longer. So you hold postures anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes in yin. So it's a different kind of pain. While Ashtanga is very fast paced and hard in that respect, yin is really, really challenging in its own right because you're having to hold these postures for longer. You're having to find your edge and meet your edge. You have to kind of make peace with where you're at as well, because there's no way that you can force your hip to open if it doesn't want to open, for example. So you have to kind of be quite gentle with yourself, and that's really difficult. And you have to focus on the breath, and your mind's going to wander. If you're holding a posture for 3 minutes, I promise you're going to start thinking about lunch. So trying to keep the attention inward, sensations in the body, the breath, slowing it down, all that good stuff. That being said, if you have injuries, you need to be mindful because we are holding these passive stretches. We're kind of like, I don't want to say overstretching muscles, but there is a real risk that you can sort of stretch a bit too far. So just be careful as you move through this. Check with your doctor before doing this video and all that good stuff. And I think we're ready. Strap. You will need a yoga strap or a dressing gown cord or a belt or resistance band, something similar. Maybe a couple of blocks. Now if you don't have blocks, don't worry about it too much, but if you have them, keep them nearby. And I think we're ready to begin. So we're going to focus on hips today. We are going to run through, there's less postures in a yin style class, but we hold them for longer. Let's see what happens. I'm a bit, usually yin is very challenging for me because I'm a bit like bouncing off the walls. So trying to bring it down a little bit is challenging in its own right. You have to tell me what you think afterwards. All right, that being said, let's start on our backs. Like, we're not probably going to be holding the postures for 3 minutes, but a little bit longer than usual. So we're going to start on our backs. We're going to bring the soles of the feet together. We're going to let the knees fall out sideways. Now this posture is called reclined bound angle. If for whatever reason it isn't comfortable, you can bend the knees or you can straighten the legs. Just find a position you can be still in. But if you're able to bring the soles of the feet together, let the knees fall out sideways. It's a great way to start passively working into the groin and the hips, across the pelvis. And then you can rest the hands on the tummy, you can rest the hands on the inner thighs, as long as you're not pushing the knees down. So we don't want to start this class with force straight, there is no force in this class. So if you're resting the hands on the inner thighs, just rest in them, no effort. Or you can rest the hands either side of the body, palms up. Now when we place the hands either side of the body, we want the palms to be facing up because it helps the shoulders open a bit more naturally. You start to broaden across the chest. And then whatever you're doing with the legs, just very gently draw your chin in towards your chest to keep the back of the neck long. So something that can also happen in these lying postures is sometimes we come like we start to crane into the neck. Don't want that. Still want to be finding length through the spine even from a lying position. And then close your eyes if that's comfortable. Now if that isn't comfortable, if that feels a little bit claustrophobic, open your eyes, not a problem. But sometimes shutting the eyes to begin with can really sort of facilitate that turning the attention inward thing we're trying to work with today. And then a last little note on the leg positioning. If you have the soles of the feet together and if you're letting the knees fall out sideways, you can make this a little bit more gentle by taking the feet away from the bum and making more of a diamond shape with the legs. Alright, now it's the hard part, right? Relaxing. So we are going to focus on relaxing today, on trying to kind of let go in these postures. So even in this lying position, are your shoulders relaxed? So sometimes we think we're relaxing the shoulders, but they're not really relaxed. So see if you can let the tension go there. Shoulders just melting into the mat. And the hips are heavy, the lower back's pressing down into the floor. The jaw is relaxed, so we're not clenching the jaw. And then once you've kind of released that tension in the body, just take your attention to the breath. So we really need the breath to be working. Very similar to Ashtanga in a sense, the breath helps us to move in and out of postures. The breath is equally as important in yin style classes, or yin. So it's how we deepen postures. You go to your edge, that place where you think, all right, I'm good here, but if I push it another inch, I don't think I'm going to be able to get up. You go there, you go to that place, you take a couple of deep breaths, you check that you're relaxed, you see if you can melt, release tension in areas you might not need it, and then maybe you move a bit further. And similarly, if you cannot breathe in a posture, if you find the breath becoming laboured, if you find it becoming a little bit quick, you need to pull back. So we're using the breath as a measure today. Paying attention. And then lastly, taking the attention around the body, checking in and seeing how you feel. We're going to be working hips today, areas you need to be mindful of. Knees, if the hips are tight, sometimes the knees take the effort of a posture. Also lower back, we'll probably be doing a couple of fold type things. So be careful of those areas. And always better, especially with this style of yoga, to start gently and then to move your way into deeper postures, rather than throw your body into the deepest posture you can get in and then like pop in a hip. So just take it easy. We're going to be holding things a little bit longer, so there's plenty of time. You want to give these muscles some time to take the postures. We're not forcing the body is letting us. Alright, wisdom. Okay, a few more moments here, and you may have even noticed that the knees just very naturally can fall a little bit closer towards the floor the longer you hold it. This is a very good place to lie in general. I mean, it's not like we've got much else going on, so if you can afford to lie like this 5 minutes a day, maybe read a book, it's going to be really good for your hips. They're going to thank you for it. I might fall asleep in this class as well. Okay. So as you inhale, just very slowly bring your knees together. And then we're just going to hug the knees into the chest and rock from side to side and make some circles. So I like to add these in all styles of yoga really, just to bring some mobility into the spine. We're rocking out tension in the lower back, squeezing the thighs in towards the tummy as you roll, and keeping the back of the head on the floor. Okay. and then bring both feet to the floor. So first posture, I mean all postures are going to be hip openers today, but first one, eye of the needle, eye needle. I just write it down, eye needle usually. You don't need to know the name. It's a hip opener. It's quite a passive one. So we're going to leave the left foot on the floor, left knee bent, cross the right foot over the left thigh, and then you can stay here. If this is enough of a hip stretch for you, you can stay here, just gently drawing the right knee down the mat, feeling some sensation top of the right leg. However, if possible, let's pick that left foot up off the floor and then take the hands or the strap around the back of the left thigh. All right? So, here we go. A nice stretch into that right hip. Going to feel this in your right glute. And the emphasis in this style of yoga is more sort of passive, but I still really want to highlight some of the action points in this posture. So gently drawing both toes back will protect the knees if you have a history of knee pain. You don't want to rock up so far that the base of the spine lifts, because then you lose that isolated stretch right hip. And as much as possible, we want the upper body to be relaxed, shoulders roll down into the mat, chest is broad. So the arms, there's a little bit of effort there to maybe gently draw the left thigh back on every exhale, but we shouldn't feel like we're pulling the arms out the sockets, and we shouldn't be lifting the back of the head on the floor. And if you are, use a strap. Okay, just holding it here. Keeping the breath steady. You can have the eyes open or shut, totally up to you. And an especially good posture for sciatica, if you get sciatica. So we're stretching into the piriformis, which is located in the glute, I believe, close to the sciatic nerve. And when the piriformis gets tight, it starts to spasm, and it kind of triggers that nerve. And that's what sends the sharp or shooting pain down your leg. There's a couple of things you can do if you wanted to work it just a little bit deeper. You can draw the right knee down the mat as you ease the left thigh back. So the angle of the right shin also tells you quite a lot about that hip. So if the right knee is closer towards the face, it means that the hip is a little bit tight today. As we draw the right knee back, the shin becomes a bit more parallel. That's an indication that the hip's beginning to open and we're starting to find that rotation. Okay, a few more moments here. It's going to be the quietest I've been all week in this class. I don't think it's a bad thing. You can chuck some music on if you like, set the mood. Okay, lovely. And then we're going to just take this into a twist. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring the left foot back to the floor. We're going to cross the right knee over the left knee. So the right knee stacked right on top of the left, like they're glued together. We're going to take the arms out wide, palms down in a T position. Big inhale, then as you exhale, just very leisurely let the knees fall over towards the left. So coming into quite a passive lying twist. When you're comfortably in your twist, provided your neck's okay, you're just going to turn the head and look over that right shoulder. Feeling the stretch come into the lower back. You may feel it pull across that right glute as well. And then remembering there is no effort to get the knees to the floor. We're not forcing this. The legs are falling as far as they want to fall. And there's only a little bit of effort to keep the knees stacked. So we're not like gripping the thighs together. The only thing to be mindful of in all these line twists is we want to keep the shoulders down. So keeping that right shoulder down to isolate the stretch where we want to feel it. And to do that, if you find the right shoulder lifting, you may need to lift your knees a little bit higher towards centre, or you can make that right arm just a little bit stronger, maybe press down through the palm, using it as an anchor. And then just taking your attention back to your breath. Slow, steady through the nose. Okay, lovely. Then as you inhale, legs back to centre. Fabulous. Uncross your legs. Give your legs a little shake. And then we're just going to do the same little sequence the other side. So we're going to cross the left foot over the right thigh. Again, stay in here. If this is enough of a stretch, just drawing the left knee down the mat and feeling that opening right at the top of your left leg. But if possible, if comfortable, let's see if we can pick the left foot up off the floor and then hands or strap around the back of the right thigh this time. Feeling that big stretch in your left butt cheek, opening up into the left hip. Gently working the toes back to protect the knees if you have knee problems, and then base of the spine down, shoulders relaxed. So you might find that one side feels a lot different to the other. Always got a tighter side, a stronger side, a more flexible side. Very rarely are we perfectly balanced, and part of yoga, the physical part of yoga, is trying to bring a balance between right and left. Or just balance in general, really, force and effort. Force and effort, force and ease, effort and ease, there we go. Effort and ease, right and left, up and down. And then you can make this deeper if you wanted by gently drawing your left knee down the mat as you ease the right thigh back. If your left elbow is touching the inner left leg, you can use it to push that leg away. But remember, today really we're going for ease. Less effort, more ease. So you don't need to do that if you feel comfortable where you are. These glute muscles, they're big muscles, you know. Strongest in the body, I believe. That's what I believe. Someone in the comments will be like, no, they're not actually, shut up, you know, what are you talking about? I think they are the strongest muscle in the body, the biggest muscle in the body, the glutes. So if this feels a little bit tight, that's okay. Spending a lot of time sitting on our glutes at the moment. They're probably going to get a little bit tight. Same with the hips. Well, you know, I'm sitting on my glutes a lot. I don't want to speak for everyone there. Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, we're going to take it into that little twist now. So we're going to bring the right foot back to the floor. We're going to cross the left knee over the right knee so it's stacked right on top, and then taking the arms wide, palms down. Inhaling, then as you exhale, letting the legs very lazily, very leisurely, just drop over towards the right. And then you can turn your head, look over the left shoulder. The only effort really is to keep the left shoulder down. Feeling that stretch, lower back, left glute, left hip area. much as possible, keeping your attention on your breath, keeping your attention on your body. Forget about lunch. Forget about what you've got to do later. And sometimes I find in these yin classes, and this probably won't work for everyone, but at least for me, if I start getting super, super distracted, I like to count the breath. I like to count the breaths, or I put a count in the breath, so I start to make sure they're equal like that, and I find that can be super helpful. So you can do that if you want, if you're finding it challenging to focus on something to do with the yoga. Okay, and then as you inhale, just make your way back up into center. Good, uncross your legs, maybe give your legs a little shake. Now at this point you can take a cat stretch. You can take the arms overhead, the legs down the mat, point the toes, just make yourself as long as you can. Full body stretch, especially nice for the tops of the legs and the lower back. And then exhale, hugging your knees into your chest and making those circles again, rocking from side to side. Back of the head on the floor. And then locate your strap. Locate your strap, your instrument of torture. Alright, so we're going to come through like a yin style Supta Padangusthasana, which if you've done my classes before, you'll know what this posture is, but the only difference is this time we're going to see if we can put a full twist in at the end. Just be mindful of your back as you go through this. There's a couple of things you can do when we get to the twist that I'll explain when we get there. So here we go. You can have the left knee bent. If your back is sensitive, keep the left foot on the floor. If not, extend the left leg down the mat. Now, we don't want the left leg to be particularly strong today, maybe just a little bit of effort to keep the toes gently facing the ceiling, and then you're going to place your right foot in the strap and extend the right leg up towards the ceiling. And then lengthen the strap so the back of your right arm is on the floor and your right shoulder is rolling down. Place your left hand on your left hip just gently and then holding it here. Alright, so obviously working into the right hamstring, the right calf, but also stretching the groin as well. Again, a lot like, it's difficult to measure what a successful yoga practice is. In my opinion, it's not doing a posture, really. What it is for me is doing things with control, mindfulness, and intelligence. I don't know where I was going with this. And intelligence. So for me, a successful yoga practice is more to do with the attitude you take towards the practice than the posture itself, if that makes sense. So what I'm saying now, I know where I was going with this, is we want the upper body to be relaxed. Okay. There is no point wasting energy in yoga. This is a big thing in Ashtanga as well. You conserve energy where you can conserve it. So we aren't doing anything with the upper body here. We don't want the right arm to be super tense. We don't want the back of the head to be coming off the floor, which means you can lengthen the strap if you need to. That's where I was going with it. Alright? So just practicing intelligently. This posture isn't about grabbing the toe or taking the hands as far up the strap as you can at the expense of the upper body being really constricted. This is about stretching into the back of the right leg and the groin. Okay, just taking a few moments here, working those right toes back if you want a slightly deeper calf stretch. Keeping the chin tucked in towards the chest so the back of the neck is long. If you have an Elvis leg, a little bit of a shake leg, a little bit of a shaky leg, don't worry about it, that's totally normal. You know, these longer holds can be quite difficult. Okay, so that being said, all of that being said, if you can keep the right shoulder relaxed, if you can keep the back of the head down, if you can keep the upper body nice and chill, you are more than welcome to take the hands higher up the strap. I just want you to get out the habit of thinking that is what is important in this posture. Way more important to be relaxed in the upper body than taking the hand up. But if you have a super stretchy hamstring, you can do it. And I feel like in yoga, when you sort of get out of this idea that it's faster, stronger, the most intense, wider, bigger, we need to get out of the habit of thinking that is right, because there is no right, there is no wrong really. There's only you and your body on the mat and what it's doing on that specific day. I feel like I need some tea and biscuits with you. Okay, just holding it here. And like we've held this quite long, so if you have made the strap a bit shorter, keeping the breath steady, just do your best. Maybe working the toes a little bit higher up towards the face if appropriate. Okay, lovely. Now, I'm going to take the leg out to the right. Again, don't let it fall so far out to the right that that left hip picks up. If the left hip is going to pick up, it means you've gone too far. It means you're losing the isolated stretch. So big inhale, moving mindfully. Just let the right leg come out to the right as far as it wants to go. Now we have the left hand on the left hip, so make sure that hip stays down. Your leg might not come out very far. That's okay, no worries. We're all feeling the same intensity of the stretch. Whether you've stopped quite near centre, quite near upright, or you've taken the leg out to the side quite far, we're all on our edge, so we're all working as hard as one another. We're all feeling the same intensity of the stretch. If your right foot's on the floor, I'm going to challenge you right this second and say your left hip's probably lifted. I don't care. If your right foot's on the floor, I need you to have another look at your left hip. Make sure those hips stay down. And then today you can just look up at the ceiling. If you want to bring a little bit of Ashtanga into it, you can turn and look over your left shoulder. Doesn't really matter. We're just going to be holding this for a little while, till your leg falls off. Okay, so breath, steady. Is there anywhere in the body that you can be releasing tension right now? So obviously we have a bit of effort in that left glute, left leg to draw the left hip down. That's okay. But what's your jaw doing? What's your shoulders doing? Is your right arm over tense? Do you need to maybe lengthen the strap a little bit? Feeling that work. Right groin, right hamstring, right hip. Opening across the pelvis. Another thing that often happens in this posture is an arch lifts in the lower back. It can be difficult to press that down, but we are trying to keep the lower back flat. And then if you did want to deepen the posture, rather than think about getting the foot to the floor, it's more about lifting your toes higher up towards your ear. Being honest, no one gets their foot to the floor. I don't think I've seen a single person doing it right who gets their foot to the floor. Unless you're a ballerina or something. But deepening the posture is more about lifting the right toes higher up towards the ear. So it's that upward lift. Think about it. Eventually you take hold of the big toe in this posture, so you do need it to be quite high up. We'll all be walking like cowboys after this. Just a few more moments. I don't want to say it. Some people would tell you to breathe into the inner thigh. I don't think that's particularly helpful. But if that works for you, I prefer to talk to your leg, you know? Talk to your leg. No one's ever died from doing this posture yet. Few more moments, doing a fabulous job, just seeing if we can really relax. Okay, and then as you inhale, we are going to bring the leg up to centre very slowly, but keep the leg where it is. So we're going to see if we can come into a full twist now. I want you to be careful with this posture. Again, don't think about getting if the foot comes down to the floor, fab, like whatever, but if it doesn't, no problem. And don't need to keep the leg straight either. So if the leg wants to bend, you can, and you can stop anywhere on the journey, so you don't need to take the leg like all the way down. You can just take it a few inches if that's what's comfortable. Now, to do this, take hold of the strap with the left hand now, and take your right arm out to the side, palm down, just like we've done in the twist before. Big inhale, let your left leg relax as well, it's going to travel with the twist. And then as you exhale, we're just taking the right leg over towards the left. The right butt cheek will probably lift if you take it far enough, but you can stop anywhere, or you can bring that right leg all the way over so the right foot hits the floor. You can place the right foot on a block if you want to, and then you're gently turning your head and looking over the right shoulder. So we've just come into this big full body twist. All right, and then just like wiggle around and find a position you can be still in. So a lot of this yin style stuff is trying to find a position you can be still in, that you can breathe in, that you're not fidgeting in. It's hard, it's really difficult. But that's good practice in all styles of yoga. And as well as working into the lower back here, we have this sort of huge stretch on the outside of the right leg, kind of IT band area. You can deepen the posture by, again, upward lift, so bring in the toes a bit higher up towards the left ear. And then just breathe in, just breathing into it, relaxing into it, just making sure that right shoulder stays down. I done a tradition, well, I don't know what I done the other day. I done a yoga class the other day, traditional hatha. So that sounds interesting, I'm going to do it. It was effectively yin, but with hatha postures. And it was the worst, like, it was good, it was like the worst thing I'd ever done though. We held like crab, as long as you would hold a yin posture, which is wheel pose. And then you sort of lied down and had to think about it. You're not thinking about much after holding a back bend for 3 minutes. I mean, that is true. A few more moments. Lovely, and then inhale, leg up. Up, 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 up. Careful, careful, mindful, careful. Take your leg out the strap and then maybe hug your knees into your chest and do what you need to do to bring some energy back into that leg. Right, lovely. On the side, shall we? So you can have your right foot on the floor, you can have the right leg straight down the mat, whatever's most comfortable, but we're going to place the left foot in the strap now. And then to begin with, let's just lengthen the strap so the back of the left arm's on the floor, left shoulder rolls down. And then remember, we want to start a little bit gentler. Want to start a little bit further back and work our way up, seeing as we're holding it just for a little bit longer than usual. Feeling that big stretch come into the back of the left leg now. Maybe working the left toes back if you want, slightly a deep stretch in the calf. And then remembering to conserve energy where you don't need to be spending it. So chest relaxed. And what a wonderful kind of lesson, right? What a wonderful yoga lesson to take off the mat. Conserve your energy. Forget about it. Forget about stuff that you don't need to be concerning yourself with, people who are just twats. Just let it all go. and then focusing on what you need to be focusing on, which in this case on the mat is the back of the left leg. But you know, all of these little things we're trying to do here on this yoga mat, we can take out and apply to everyday life. My left leg is so much tighter than my right. So again, you may have the same. You might find one side's a lot different. So we just notice these things. It's not to judge, like I joke about it. I say, oh, left side's the problem side. But really we aren't judging. It's just so we can build body awareness, which helps us to move through our practice and everyday life or other activities we do a little bit more intelligently. If we know we have a tight left hip, maybe we shouldn't try and stick our leg behind our head on the left side for now, you know? Or if we have a right weak ankle, maybe we need to hold on to a wall or something if we're trying balances. Just being aware. Breath steady. And then you have the option, you can move the hands higher up the strap as long as that right arm, left arm stays in its socket. So as long as the left shoulder's relaxed, the back of the left arm's going to lift up off the floor, but let's keep that shoulder chilled. Right hand's on right hip, obviously. And then you can work the toes a little higher up towards the face if you want. Okay, just a few more moments here. Okay, lovely, big inhale, and then as you exhale, very mindfully, very slowly, move your left leg out towards the left, and then just stop as whenever you feel that right hip lifting, okay? So we're not going crazy, we're going to keep both butt cheeks down, and then you can look up, you can turn and look over the right shoulder, whatever feels good to you. So we do have a bit of effort in the left arm, a little bit of effort in the right glute to draw that hip down, but nothing too intense, nothing too crazy. And then feeling that opening left groin, left hip, opening up across the pelvis. So really good preparation for stronger postures like Warrior 2 especially. Anything where we need the groin to be working. Lifting the toes up towards the ear if you want a slightly deeper stretch. And then just trying to be still. Trying to have a good time. Okay, you're doing very, 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 very well. Just a few more moments here. So yeah, definitely challenging in a different kind of way, hey? I mean, I can't feel my legs anymore, so so for me, okay, but for me it's more like upper body strength stuff, which makes me cry. But we all have our thing as well. So this is another thing to remember, wisdom time with Ashleigh, is we all have our thing. So while this might feel absolutely awful, you might be thinking, I can't do this, I'm shit at yoga, this is awful. Just remember we all have our strengths and weaknesses. While this might be difficult, you might find handstands or headstands or standing postures or balances or core work a little bit easier, and then someone else might find this easy but that really difficult. So we all have stuff that we gravitate towards, and it's usually the stuff we hate that we need the most. In my case, press-ups. So as you inhale, let's bring that leg up all the way, and then we're going to take it into that lovely full body twist. Just be mindful. So now we're going to hold on to the strap with the right arm, left arm out to the side, palm down, and let that right leg relax. Big inhale, then exhale, let the left leg come all the way over if possible. If not, no worries, just stop wherever you feel comfortable. Left butt cheek's probably going to lift. You can bend that left knee a little bit, don't have to keep the leg straight. But once you're in your twist, let's just turn and look over the left shoulder. Don't know where I've gone. I'm on a diagonal now. As long as you're feeling that lovely stretch in the lower back, across the left glute, keeping the left shoulder down. And breathe in. So this little sequence we've done here with the foot in the strap, probably one of my favourites actually. I come back to it quite often. I think it's a good way to work into the back of the legs, groin obviously, I mean back. It's a great little lower body sequence to run through for flexibility. Great preparation for things like splits. Okay, lovely. Then as you inhale, just bring the leg back up to center. Take your foot out the strap. Take a cat stretch, so point both toes down the mat, arms overhead, lengthen. And then as you exhale, hug your knees into your chest, rock from side to side and make some circles. All right, okay, lovely. And then whenever you're ready, we're gonna pop ourselves up into all fours. I was like, we ain't gonna hold postures for 5 minutes. Looking at the clock, it's like nearly 45 minutes in. We've done like 2 postures. But this is, you know, this is a yin style class, that's what it is. It's less postures, hold it for longer. But I do want to come through a little, sort of like a easier yin-y style of lizard sequence, and I really would like to get frog in here as well. Massive groin and hip openers. So from an all four position, we are going to step our right foot to the outside of the right hand. And then we are going to move the left knee back just a few inches and then sink the hips down. So this is an easier variation of a posture called lizard. And you can make this very active in other styles of yoga by straightening that back leg, but for today, let's just relax into it. So to begin with, the right knee is over the ankle or thereabouts, and the right leg stays sucked in towards the arm. And then we're just letting the hips drop. If the back knee hurts, just pad it out, stick a jumper underneath it or something. And there's loads going on here. Groin stretch, we're stretching into the left psoas muscle, the hip flex of the quad. We're also opening up into the right hip. And just breathe. So passive postures aren't necessarily easy. It just means we aren't engaging any muscles, we aren't squeezing anything. But the passive postures can be really difficult. They can feel very, very intense. So if you're struggling, if you're thinking, when is this going to be over, you can always change your mind and make it a little bit gentler by bringing the left knee forward a few inches. You can always have a rest if you need to. But this is where the work of this style of yoga starts happening, all right? When you want to get out, provided there's no sharp or shooting pain, obviously. I mean, there's not like an injury you're working with. This is where the work of the posture style of yoga starts. You want to come out of the posture. All right, and what? You know, it's very easy to quit. It's very easy to give up. And what? We're staying here. I mean, that's not me saying it to you, but that's kind of like the way I see this style of yoga working. What do you do when you want to give up? Do you come out the posture? Do you make it a little bit easier maybe? That would probably be a bit of an easier thing to do. Don't come out of it, don't give up, just make it a little bit easier for yourself. Or you can breathe, take your attention to your breath. You can wait it out, you know, knowing that afterwards you're going to feel better for doing it. Okay, so you can stay here, but we have got options to deepen this posture. Staying here, maybe bringing the left knee forward, but whatever you do, try not to come out the posture, maybe just make it easier, okay? Unless obviously you're in a lot of sharp or shooting pain. But with this style of yoga, muscles are going to stretch, it's going to probably feel a bit intense. Alright, so you can stay here, or you can deepen this posture. To deepen the posture, you will turn your right foot out 45 degrees, you will inhale, and then as you exhale, potentially the right knee is going to drop. So the inside of your left foot, right foot, damn it, right foot's going to pick up. Okay. That's only an option, you don't have to do it. Just sort of draws a deeper stretch into that right hip. And you also have the option now, we've been holding it for a little while, to come down onto the forearms or to bend the elbows. Now I have a couple of blocks here because, oh my God, don't do what I'm doing. I have a couple of blocks here because if you can't come down onto your forearms on the mat, you might want to place your forearms on the blocks. That's if you have the blocks. Then just find, you've got loads of options here, so find something that you can be still in, find something that you can hold. Relaxing areas of the body that you do not need to be on. I don't know if I'll be able to get out of this, to be honest. You're doing a fabulous job. This is all part of the process, especially if you have really, really tight muscles. You can't undo all of that in a day, you know, a lifetime of tightness in one yoga class, that doesn't really work. So it is a bit of a haul trying to get these muscles to release. We'll just take a few more moments here. Last couple of deep breaths. Alright, so if you're on forearms, come up onto straight arms, or bent elbows, straight arms. Bring the foot back to the floor. Getting out of these postures are never graceful. Very grateful, they're never graceful. And then square the toes back up, and then just make your way back into all fours, however you need to do it. And then come straight into child's pose. You can have the feet together, knees as wide as the mat, or the feet and the knees together, and sink the bum towards the heels, and just let the forehead melt towards the floor. Okay, so we're in child's pose now, and then really see if you can tune into those sensations in the body, the feeling around your right hip, maybe top of the left leg. Letting the blood get back to that area. Maybe having a bit of a wiggle if that feels good. Okay, and then inhale up into all fours, and we'll do the other side. So I'll be honest with you, I've done a lot of... I've come out the postures early. Not gonna lie, like halfway through I'm like, I can't do this. So when I say the effort, you know, is trying to stay in it when you really don't want to be in it, I'm right there with you. It is really hard, but that is what we're trying to do. So let's try the other side. We'll step the left foot to the outside of the left hand, and then we'll move that right knee back. Okay. So pad in the back knee out if you need to. We want this to be, like, it's already quite uncomfortable. We don't want to make it more uncomfortable. So maybe padding the knee out if you need to, and just doing those small things to make your life a bit easier. And to begin with, we'll keep the left knee over the ankle. You can also bring the right knee forward ever so slightly if you want to make this a little bit gentler. And then feeling that opening in the right top of the leg, left hip, groin. And then taking your attention back to your breath and trying not to fidget. I'm fidgeting. We're all marvellous works in progress, so we're all trying not to fidget. We're all being mindful of our knees. And then trying to not tune out. I say that because I was tuning out. So always reminding the brain, always trying to stay present with where we're at. Again, lastly, just be mindful that one hip probably is going to be a little bit different. So maybe this side you don't go as far, or maybe you go a little bit further. So you have those options now. Now we've held it just for a little while. You can, if you want to deepen this, try and turn your left foot out 45 degrees, inhale and exhale, just let the left knee fall out to the side. So the inside of the left foot will lift, and just hold it here first. We won't come down just yet, we're just going to hold it here for a little while, a little longer. I'm getting very focused now. My left hip's so tight. Go into that place, dig in deep, finding that breath. Sit it out, wait it out, you've got this, you can do it. And now if you choose, maybe coming down onto forearms, or just simply staying on straight arms. It's big enough stretch as it is, maybe bending the elbows ever so slightly, whatever, your choice. Do whatever your hip will allow you to do. It's an exercise in patience, these hip openers especially. Just like I said right at the beginning, the body doesn't care. Like, your brain is like, I want to get down onto my forearm, so let's do it. Your body's like, oh, well, I'm afraid that's not quite how it works. Just because you want to get down onto the forearms today doesn't mean I can, all right? There's no way to open the hips quickly. You know, it's a patient. It doesn't matter how much you want to go down onto the forearms. Firstly, that doesn't really matter at all whatsoever. But secondly, it's tough shit because the body can't do what the body can't do yet. So just make peace wherever you are. It's the same in all styles of yoga. It's a journey, it's fun, it's stupid. Let's have fun doing it. I'm like the Bob Ross of yoga teachers. Fabulous. I feel like we've held this for long enough now. So making your way onto straight arms. If you did bend the elbows, bringing your foot back to the floor, then however you're doing it, get that leg back. Alright, and then make your way into child's pose again. Whichever one's comfortable. I mean, I quite like having my knees and my feet together in this because I feel like, oof, enough hip opening already. I can do with something with my hips not being so open. But up to you, whatever feels good. Okay, and then inhale, just make your way up into all fours, and really for the last posture we're going to do. So what have we done? We've done an eye of the needle, a twist, we've done like a yin style supta, we've done a lizard, and we're doing frog. Effectively, I mean, I can't really count the foot in the strap as one posture, but I can because I am. So really only 5 postures. So this is how long you hold these postures. Frog pose. Now this is a very, 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 very big hip opener and groin stretch. If for whatever reason frog pose does not work for you, you come into a wide leg child's pose instead, with the feet together and the knees as wide as the mat, okay? And that is option number 1, to come into child's pose and just hold it there. Holding that is enough of a hip opener. Frog though, so we'll come into it together, why not, hey? It's not the best angle for frog pose, but so from your all 4 position, and I'll say that in a minute. I'm going to talk anyway a lot in it, so I may as well say it in a minute. Let's do it first. So from all 4s, whoosh, separate your knees, okay? Take your knees as wide as they will go. Then from here, I want you to line your ankles up with your knees. I don't know if you can see, but my ankle is lined up with my knees. And then my feet turn outward, and my feet are also sort of, toes are active, so gently pulling back. Okay, so that's the leg positioning. The knees are as wide as they'll go. The knees are over the ankles, the toes are facing outwards, and then that's the legs done. Now, from here you can stay upright on straight arms, or you can come down onto forearms. Or you can come down chin and chest, or forehead, whatever. To deepen this posture, what you do, I'm down on 4, this is a slightly better angle actually, I think. What you do is you move the weight back. So rather than thinking about pressing the inner thighs into the floor, move the weight back. If your knees hurt, again, please put something underneath the knees. And then we're going to hold it here. So just as a recap, we've taken the knees wide. The knees are over the ankles. The toes are facing outward. You're upright, or you've lowered down onto your forearms. I'm going to stay on forearms. Or you can come forehead, chin and chest, whatever. You're lowering the body down effectively, but keeping the legs in the position they're in is more important. And then from here, to deepen the posture, you move the weight back. And you feel this massive stretch, inner thighs, hips. And I'm afraid we're going to be holding it here just for a minute or 2. The ultimate posture for not fighting. All right. Breathe in. Be mindful of knees, be mindful of lower back, and if for whatever reason this isn't working for you, you can come into a wide legged child's pose again, which is very similar, less intense, but similar opening up of the hips and the groin. So just take a couple of breaths, see if you can relax areas you don't need to be working. I've got my knee on a wooden floor and it's just slowly sliding out. So yeah, don't do that. Don't slide. Right, holding it here. Deep, slow, steady breath. So this is a yin style frog. In Ashtanga, frog is different. It's Bakasana. It's a very, very, very different posture. Just 3.5 then. I'm right here with you every step of the way. Taking a few more moments here. Okay, last few breaths, I promise. Doing a really good job. All right, and now we're coming out of the posture. Get your knees together. However, you need to get your knees together and then come onto your backs and just hug the knees into the chest and rock from side to side very quickly. All right. Eye watering. Okay, and then once you've done that, once you've rocked from side to side, because that frog, it can be quite demanding on the lower back as well, I want you to just come into your comfortable lying position. So just finishing how we started, so you can bring the soles of the feet together, let the knees fall out sideways, legs straight, legs bent. Now, there's another thing you can do. I quite like to do this. After all that hip opening, all that external rotation, I like to bring an internal rotation into it. This might not feel good for you, but I like to take my feet a little bit wider than my hips and just let my knees like knock in. For me, that feels quite good after all this sort of opening. But up to you, placing the hands on the belly, inner thighs, if the legs are apart, either side of the body, palms up, and then just taking a minute. So just letting the breath come back to normal and taking your attention around the body. So holding these postures for longer, sometimes you can feel that. So I feel like at the end of classes, sometimes I say take your attention around the body and see how you feel, and people are like, I don't feel anything. But with those yin style postures, the longer holds, you should be able to feel that leftover sensation. Really quite deep hip openers today, working into the backs of the legs, the groin. And you've done really, really well, so I know you've done well. It's difficult. If you needed to come out a couple of those postures and you needed to kind of wiggle around, don't even worry about it. So when I first started doing yin yoga, I don't do it all that often, but when I started practicing it, I somehow managed to make it competitive, obviously. So it's like, I have not done this right if I've had to come out of the posture. You know, I've not done this right if I've had to move, and you start making up all these stupid rules. If you had to come out of a couple of those postures, don't even worry. Next time, see if you can hold it for half a second more, then half a second more, and then half a second more, and then just go from there. There is no right or wrong way to work with your body in this posture. And while I think it's important that we try and sit through that discomfort as long as we can, I'm also not saying, you know, ignore your body and you've done it wrong if you haven't managed to hold the posture. Of course not. You have to be the decider. You have to decide where your limit is, and you have to decide whether or not you can go a little bit further on that day. You are your own best teacher, and don't let anybody else tell you otherwise. Yes, that being said, on that note, I'm ending the class. So, bringing your knees together if they're apart, taking a cat stretch, hugging your knees into your chest, and doing whatever you need to do to feel good at the end of this class. Thank you for joining me. That was fun. That was a little bit different. So that is the kind of yin style. So that's the kind of stuff that you can expect in a yin class. But again, there's wildly different teachers. And I'll probably do another one next week. And have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you when I see you. I'm not back here Facebook Live now till Friday. What are we doing Friday? Oh, what are we doing Friday? I can't even think about what we're doing Friday, but I am here Friday night doing something that I've put on my timetable. So thank you so much for joining me. Have a lovely rest of your day. What am I doing Friday?